I do the editing the end of the month. So you have to put it on your calendar. January 31st is our like goodbye party.
Okay. Here?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess come to appreciate that it was an experiment, a point in time when there was an idea that got explored and poked at and examined, and we're actually very happy that we had the opportunity to see it unfold. I mean, we had no idea what it was and what it could be, but I think that it exceeded all of our expectations.
Why Exhibit S? Because it's not possible, because it's an impossible place that shouldn't exist, and I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to see it happen, because it's not going to happen again, and I got an opportunity to be directly at the center of it and be a part of it, interact, affect it, be affected by it.
Exhibit S is something that should be continued, because until my experience as far as the Sacramento art scene was abysmal. If I said that correctly. Until I mean, you know, I didn't, as far as I was concerned, there weren't any even good artists in Sacramento, or exceptional artists. You know, the Crocker Museum, but Exhibit S is, you know, just allowed a melting pot of artists, and I mean, it blew my mind the first time when they first had this, when I first came through and saw how it was set up and saw the plethora of talent that's in Sacramento. It just made me want to actually change my plans from going to the Bay with my art and staying here where I stay.
Tre and Danny told me when they were approached about having a 7,500 square foot space in the mall, and I thought it was really exciting, and I thought they were the right people to get the space. And I believe when they first started the space, they weren't sure exactly what was going to happen with it, but it's ended up being a really great place for artists to come and collaborate and basically like explore art together. So I think even the people who aren't working directly in the space are coming in and contributing and making art and enjoying themselves.
There's too many different, you know, elements of reality that contradict each other by having this thing here.
Painting by its nature in a career, especially in a fine art career, is a very, very competitive environment. There are so many good painters out there. It's cutthroat in the art world, and I think that nature of working with other painters kind of bred this feeling of insecurity and jealousy and a harsh emotional environment for me in my old studio. When Tre and Danny approached me to come to the studio, I think that something really that called to me was they're very nurturing in nature.
Exhibit S made me much more patient and understanding than any other place has in my entire life.
I feel really reinvigorated, that's for sure. Like, felt like it really recharged me, because I've just been feeling for the past couple of years just slowly draining more and more. Like, I wasn't getting the input that I needed to keep going and to feel engaged and motivated. Like, you know, like art was a thing that I wanted to be a part of. It was a little hard there for a minute, but now it's now I'm feeling it again. You know, it's good.
I can only guess, but 100,000 people have seen my work just by walking by the windows. People from all over the world have come and purchased my work. And people who visit Sacramento walk in and say they've never seen anything like it before.
You have people coming from all over the world just coming and stopping here because it's here. You know, something to do. Or they're passing through, but they noticed it. They saw how unique it was and how amazing it was, and it really was something that was special going on, and Sacramento's own, because a lot of the things you came in here to see and come in contact with are made in Sacramento from Sacramentans. But even more importantly, the culture that's being shown and reflected and celebrated here is being celebrated here in Sacramento. So all these, the epicenter of these vibrations are coming from Sacramento.
There's nothing like this in Sacramento, and for the most part, from what I've heard from people from all around the world, tourists that have come here, there's really nothing like this in the whole world, and definitely not with this group of people, and the network that this ragtag group of geniuses know coming through the doors on a daily basis and contributing to the community that we've built here.
Most people in Sacramento don't associate Sacramento with anything super edgy, super cool, or hip. Certainly people outside of Sacramento don't. But I would say even more unfortunately, it's people here who don't consider this a place to find something unexpected, find something new, something that would be cool anywhere. And I think that just the idea that this place even existed was incredible to people.
I think that people love to hate Sacramento. Sacramentans love to hate Sacramento. We have this funny culture of everybody who moves to Sacramento who's not from Sacramento always talks about how great Sacramento is, and everybody in Sacramento who's from Sacramento always just talks like it sucks. Like, I hate the fact that the big compliment from Sacramento, for Sacramento, from Sacramentans is like, oh, it's an hour and a half to everywhere. It's like, it's an hour and a half to everything cool that's not here. And I think we brought a vibe and an interesting highlight to something that Sacramento very much is, and that's a melting pot. It's an incredibly diverse community of people, and we're actually being studied, and there's been articles written in Time magazine about how diverse Sacramento is, of different cultures and ethnicities and religious backgrounds, and we are a perfect example of that. And I think we're also a testament to how that thing can work in unison.
I think that people, when they found out that this was something that was from Sacramento, that people who were living here and thriving here founded, I think that if people were like, oh wow, like Sacramento is really changing. Sacramento is a place where things that are not being tried anywhere else are happening. I mean, to have a gleaming 7,300 square foot public art space in the middle of a mall downtown is something that people just were like, what? And, you know, we got the same reaction from people from London or, you know, Australia or China. I mean, people here are just like, I've never seen something like this before. And for that to be in Sacramento, I think was really important.
Exhibit S has been giving me nightmares recently. There's this giant hole that opened up in my ceiling and it rained all over everything and all my stuff had to move away and then it was everywhere and I don't know where anything is anymore! It's all gone! Oh my stuff is gone! Why did you do this to me?
Alright, are you done?
Oh, my hair clip
Did
is
you
right
get all
there.
that out of you? Is it all
What's the next question?
Okay, look. How did Exhibit S change your career?
I already answered that
No,
question.
you didn't answer that question. You did
Oh.
a whole bunch of hoopla.
Exhibit S gave me a place where I could express myself to be me without getting arrested for real, because one time when I was dancing in the mall, they called the police, and the police came and they didn't believe that I was actually an artist here. They thought I was a crazy person, so they asked Shabana if I was really an artist here, and they said, yeah, it's Lady Beaver, and I just got to dance around and be myself, and it was awesome.
Exhibit S is so many things. It's all the things together which make it Exhibit S. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what it is, and it's a sum of all its parts. It's artist studios, it's an art gallery, it's a public gathering place, it's a meeting place. It's a place of solace, of rest, of escape, of fun, of excess, of freedom, of work. It's a place where a lot of work gets done all the time. and it's an environment. And it's an environment catered to inspire those that come to it.
We're at the mall. It's like one of the largest spaces at the mall. They gave it to artists. Truth be told, we paid $250 a month in rent. And then artists were allowed to just pretty much do whatever we wanted here.
The S? Well, the S, I think, has come to mean Sacramento.
Do you want to know what I think it means?
S stands for Sacramento, not Satan.
It's been explained to me. It meant Sacramento, and Exhibit S is like the kind of like this, this thing that would be like put in a trial. Like, this is Exhibit S, that this is proven to work, or it's a piece of proof, or it's a study. I don't know. I think it stands for shit show.
For me, the S is oh shit.
The S means.
The S stands for Shabana.
My favorite is just making it exhibits, because there's more than one.
I guess the S stands for special too, because that's what it's been.
Yeah.
It's been a special. Well, when you first came up with Exhibit S, I said, well, maybe it means Sacramento. But then it was more than Sacramento. It's special. And people who have seen it, when you figure that somebody is far away, so some city, San Francisco magazine, that they took a look at it, and they figured it was special, and they put it in their magazine. Sacramento News and Review, they took a look at it, and they had a cover, had Maren on the cover of their magazine. I mean, these are people who these are companies that want to have something in it that has people read it, and they've thought enough of Exhibit S to put it in there. Sacramento News and Review thought enough of it to have it on their cover. So Exhibit S is Exhibit Special as far as I'm concerned.
It's a sample. That's what the S stands for. Exhibit sample of what things could be like and the way things could be. And that's Exhibit S.
The name took about 3 weeks for us to come up with, and it was a lot of passing it back and forth and wanting to capture what it was and having it still have potential. So we knew it was undefined. We also knew that it was going to be temporary, so we called it an exhibit. We called it an exhibit also because we thought it was the proof of what we've been trying to do for a long time, that we could take everything we've been saying and talking about and create it. And so just like in a courtroom, when you have Exhibit A and Exhibit B, then you'd have Exhibit S, and that's the proof of what we've been talking about.
And it's kind of sweet. It impacted the world maybe in a better mindset, because it just goes to show you what you just give a few creative people in time, not even money. You just give them a space, and then they can make something sweet and super professional out of it. That's kind of motivational, right?
There has been like the biggest mesh of personalities in this space. These are all people that would not hang out otherwise. These are not a group of people that you would ever see sitting at a table at a restaurant or going to a bar together.
I'm like, how dare we have like pretty white girl Maren,
Uptight middle class white girl.
we've got like gay me,
Flamingly gay with his, Yale pedigree.
Matt Brown, that's a whole other species.
I don't think his clothes have ever been clean. Erika Lipkes, who looks like a lesbian but is not. And just like Thelma from Scooby-Doo.
Crazy ass Erika.
We got Shabana with her giant earrings on and is Fijian.
And then we got this like Muslim vegetarian who makes all our videos happen.
Teddy, who is an Islamic faith and from the East Coast. And a little gangster.
And who's hella funny to boot. And extremely black.
This big mix of personalities and all these artists with different ideas and different objectives and different goals, and all things that we wanted to create going forward, but going forward all in opposite directions. And I think it's been this really interesting environment where I think that anybody could walk in off the street and fit in amongst somebody. And it's not a thing about fitting in. I think we all found a sense of belonging.
Exhibit S changed my career by giving people the understanding that I was a professional artist. And I am as serious as you are. Not you, but hypothetically you.
Matt Brown is good at getting lots of really sexy ladies to wear barely any clothing for him.
Curious Life of Matt Brown, as we refer to him.
Is he gonna be the $1 million making Hollywood cinematographer, or is the Secret Service gonna pick him up tomorrow and drag him away? I don't know.
Matt Brown is like, I think he's like hanging from the rafters right now.
Oh, Matt Brown is the dude. He's an enigma. Matt Brown is an enigma, legitimate enigma.
And yet, I've never met anyone like Matt Brown. I think that his level of brilliance is really incredible, especially when you realize kind of like all the different stuff that he does.
Brilliant. He's got incredible ideas. He's got a really creative mind. Once he's given the opportunity to do what he wants to do.
Kind of gave me more of a career. It didn't really change it. I just got different elements like involved. Like a lot of people said, it looked like I was doing big stuff, but they couldn't figure out what. I feel like that was the...
But you won't necessarily understand it because it's fucking Matt Brown. You know, it's like something going on. But he's so busy. I've never seen a busier person. In no time. Running around all the time. Makes hella different stuff in art, and it puts his hands in hella different pots and stirring them, you know? Like, what? Has hella friends. He's a good friend. You know, he's a nice person. Great to hang out with. If you have the time. If you can get him for half an hour. But there will be times, though, when you'll get him for hours. And it's like, you're Matt Brown, what's going on? How are you still here?
I would say that you're the most experimental of the people in the space.
I think Matt will get sucked up in the Hollywood scene and he'll end up doing bizarre, obscure projections on the Hollywood strip and living out of his van and wearing his dirty clothes and probably having $1 million in the bank account, but choosing to live out of his van anyway, because that's Matt Brown.
I love you, Matt Brown.
My screen printing station was outside in a shed I had built out of found wood, and it is extremely unstable, and I knew winter was coming, and I was sick of working outside in my 3-walled gazebo, and it was cold all the time. So I said it'd really be nice if this was inside and I didn't have like leaves blowing around.
I think that Lady Beaver will have some video go viral on YouTube and crash into being a sensation that way. I think you can't quite believe it till you see it. And she really is that person 24/7. It is true to character. I think people think that she's acting out or acting a certain way to get attention, but that's just who she is every day.
I will pull it together for this part of the interview. And working collaboratively with these other artists has given me the confidence, the inspiration, and the charisma it is that I need in order to fully be myself and pursue my art.
Lady Beaver. Oh, Lady Beaver. She is going to continue to gross people the fuck out.
One of the craziest, most hardworking people I've ever met. I mean, I've never met someone with her irreverent sense of humor, with her level of sensitivity, her ability to kind of be silly and serious. I think that she brought something that was completely, she brought something that was not present at all before she arrived. You know, this sense of, you know, irreverence and dirtiness, but also like probably having the most extensive educational background out of all of us.
What? Why are you doing this to me, Teddy? It's fucked Oh. Okay, can we start over?
I don't like making Erika cry.
There's so much energy flowing within her all the time. You know, she's super creative and unafraid to experiment and express how she's feeling and thinking. And like, you know, we only get the fraction we get of, you know, that she actually gets out. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what else is going on?
And she will be dialing it up to 11, just in case you were wondering.
I need a tampon, Rochelle.
I thought you just bought a whole bunch of them.
I did. Where did I leave them? Where did I leave my tampons? Where could they be? I don't know. Where did I leave my tampons? Where could they be?
You just pull out your tampon, buddy.
Where are my tampons?
I'm cutting the film.
No,
yeah,
no.
I'm cutting the film.
No.
Yeah.
This is the best shot of the whole thing.
No, this is not the best shot.
All right, I got it. I'm on film right now.
You just take off your tampon, buddy.
I'm not wearing any pants right now.
I'm pulling on your tampon, buddy.
Here, give me the tampons. I found them!
Maren is taking off. Like, that is for sure. Like, she is definitely the most overtly successful that I've person here in Exhibit S, who since I've shown up has gotten more clients, made more work, had more shows, installed more commissions than anybody, and she's definitely burning the candle at both ends for art.
Working with you has been an awesome, amazing experience. I never, my work has never looked better. I've never felt stronger about its potential. And I've never, it was very challenging to figure out the process of working with you, and incredibly rewarding once everything started flowing. And the last 2 weeks of putting on the show was some of the most enjoyable time I've had at Exhibit S, making art and setting up a show. And the amount of love and support that you give everyone here, and the steps that you're willing to go through in order to, the hoops you're willing to jump in order to be successful, and the way in which you're willing to give knowledge and critiques in a positive way.
Maren, I would say out of everyone else in the space, Maren's the one that I became closest to. Our personal lives were kind of going through the same thing when we began this space, and we both kind of needed that, just personal support and professional support. And I think that, her dedication to her work, she's, I think of all the people in the space, just the most generous, kind of giving person. I mean, not just as an individual and as a friend, but also as someone who is really generous with her process. I mean, the whole reason Maren's even here is that she and Danny did a show together at a gallery, and I looked at her beautiful works, and I just had no idea what even the shit was. I was like, what is this? And she's like, oh, it's, these paintings in between layers of resin. And I was just like, can you put resin on tape?
There's a perfection in every piece that, I mean, it speaks for itself. Not only that, super hardworking, great person, very reliable, very genuine.
Maren, Maren is amazing. She has an ass that the sun could rise and set upon, besides just being a freaking awesome mom and good with resin. She's resined a bunch of my stuff for me. She's awesome. And could kick someone's ass.
I was ready to be in my 20s again. I had a baby very early in my life. I'm a widow. And these young, fun kids, and getting a chance to kind of go back to the dorms was fun for me. And that's exactly what it is. I have been the resident assistants. I feel like the RA of the dorms at Exhibit S. I am the mom in a lot of ways. And and all my naughty little brothers and sisters have been fun. It's been a fun environment that's pushed me, and also I think kept me relevant and my finger on the pulse. It's less pressure than the big galleries, and and my clients all tend to be older and very mature and very successful. So I think I was ready for a little bit of antics.
Shit, I can't even talk to some of my close peoples on the level that me and you talk on. It's sometimes, for most people, that's too deep, and that's sad. It really is, It's refreshing to me, just like I was telling my man Mike. I was even telling Shabana, I was like, son, put me on, Ted, you put me on the stuff that I had totally, the shit. Good thing I ain't a teacher, because I'd have told some lies off this piece.
He works harder than anyone else here. He's here the most, easily. He sometimes doesn't leave for days. And I'm very happy we found him a comfortable chair.
We didn't know how to find, we never would have known the cast of characters that were going to fill this place out, but we knew if we put something awesome out there, we'd attract the people who are looking for that, to be a part of that. And Teddy was the first person who really stepped up and was like, oh wow, if this is what you guys are about, like, I want to be a part of that. And so, after that initial kind of collaboration, he was right on board, and Teddy's been, I think, like what's like the male version of Den Mom? It's like, he's like, the guy who's like super chill. He's able to kind of like squash any beefs or be the mediator. I mean, aside from him being able to really put what we're doing out into the wider world. I mean, if it weren't for Teddy, we wouldn't be able to share. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this right now if it weren't for Teddy, actually.
Teddy likes cookies and money, and his chair a lot.
He's always down to talk to you about your problems. He's very patient, very respectful, and his advice comes from a place of what's best for you. He wants you to look at your life and figure out how you can most positively view a situation.
Teddy is looking at me right now through the viewfinder of his Nikon. And yeah, he's gonna do real well.
Teddy's awesome. Teddy's brilliant, down to earth, sensitive, smart, competent, capable guy. Like hard worker, nice person. It's good to spend time with and talk to. Very skilled, very knowledgeable, and willing to share that knowledge and have discussions. And it's great to be around Teddy and talk to Teddy, because he always has something interesting and valuable to say.
Oh man, I can't wait to play in his PC gaming cafe. That's gonna be awesome. But yeah, he's got big plans. He's got a lot of savvy. He's gonna keep going.
I think Teddy will do incredibly well. I think of all of us, he's really the businessman. I think he's very motivated and smart with money. I think he has a place he wants to go that's bigger than I think even any of us really can even see or understand. And I think he'll end up being like a mogul, like a video production mogul.
He lives by what he believes. He doesn't say one thing and then go do some other random stuff that's contradictory. He has an identity and an understanding of how he wants to live and be, and follows that, which is very admirable.
You're looking up.
All right, anytime.
Basically, Exhibit S is a local art gallery where we have 27 local artists, and we feature 5 different local artists that are residents.
Jessicah.
I don't even know.
So with Teddy came Shabana, and Shabana was the person who was actually the most familiar with the mall to begin with. I mean, that's why Teddy was even here. That's why they even let Teddy into that party. It was supposed to be invite only, but somehow they snuck through. Glad they did. And Shabana has been my partner in crime, running the store, and just I bring a lot to the table, but what I didn't bring was like any experience like retail selling. When I took over Exhibit S's store and kind of like that operation, it was really important that I had someone who could do that. And I mean, Shabana has always brought like a really professional face. Like, she's the first person you see. Like when I'm sitting at the desk, people are like, "Where's the girl who works here?" I'm like, I also work here. You know, surprise, surprise.
Shabana, she never felt. I never, when talking to her, it was never like she was at work. It always was like she was just chilling, just having a good time. You know, if she was having a bad day, she never let it show.
Shabana is really good at doing hair.
Shabana, you're awesome. You're amazing. You're knowing how foul-mouthed you are and how devious you are. To see the way that you interact with a 50-year-old man who's been flirting with you for 2 hours is ridiculous. Like, I would have closed the store hours ago. Like, you're so patient with the customers and so professional. Even with me, when you don't have to be. When you could tell me to go fuck myself, you would never do it. And that's amazing. Like, your control and commitment to the space, and you were committed to the space even after it wasn't able to pay you what you're worth. It's been fantastic and amazing, and I hope I can provide more opportunities for you in the future. I love you. Working with you is great. Seeing you in the morning makes me smile, and knowing I can rely upon you is fantastic. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Mike is incredibly talented in many different mediums and just like fields of knowledge. Like, just virtually, you can have a conversation with Mike about pretty much anything, and there's something he's gonna share with you that you didn't hear before. And people have said that about me, and I talk with Mike and I learn something new all the time.
Jerry Seinfeld? That's my dude, man. I learned hella shit from him, man. And again, you know, genuine, down to earth, smart, really smart dudes. He's probably be one of those people that he reminds me of my wife. I mean, not my wife, but my wife is exceptionally just smart, you know, but they're not arrogant about it, you know. And it was always, you know, no question I've ever asked him where he made me feel small.
Mike Lee came in, and Mike is so helpful. He's a very talented artist, you know, himself, but then he comes in and works on everyone's projects and assists people and is never griping about it, always seems really happy to like offer a hand. And again, like, you have really amazing, generous people in this space. There's no one that I feel I haven't like bonded with in some way or like respect to a great deal.
Mike told me, so Mike went to school with Erika and Danny, and they've been trying to get Mike to come out and like make art with them for years, and he's just been like, you know. And I'm like, why'd you come? You know, he came here and he decided to move to from Oakland to Sacramento and just be a part of this full time. And I was like, why did you decide to do that? And he's like, because this place should not exist. He said, you know, when Danny was telling me about this place, I heard him, but I didn't like really believe it. And so I came here and I saw it, and I was like, well, they've done the impossible. This place should not exist. So I guess that's what it took to get me here. He's doing something that I didn't believe could actually happen. So he's been awesome as like a, I guess I wouldn't say apprentice, because I think Mike, you know, might be the most gifted out of everybody, you know. But it's been great to see someone who had maybe kind of not given up, but had like kind of put their artistic career to the side and see that flourish again. So I'm really glad that he's been here.
He's been trying to get me to show up for his things for a long time, and I've been hesitant. But when he told me that he got a giant open space in the downtown mall in Sacramento, I kind of thought he was lying. So when I found out that it was true, I had to come and show up and see what it was, because it's not really normal or possible. So him and Lady Beaver, who I went my undergrad and my graduate school with also, they both got me to come by showing me how serious and devoted they were to this place and making their art. And I was kind of, you know, dipping my toe for a few weekends, just kind of driving up and checking it out, working for Danny, helping him set up for his exhibitions and his making work to put in the store, stuff like that, collaborating. And then, yeah, and then I kind of just became the studio lurker who, you know, I'm here and I've had my hands in every single show for the last 5 months, basically.
Tre, there's no way this could have happened without you at all, and there's no way it could have been what it was or even gotten close to what it became without your work and your support and your commitment to the space. To see you broke yourself a few times here. You worked too hard and you went too far, and that was awesome to see. Like, you pushed yourself very hard in the space, and you also, I think, had the most challenging position here. You had to do more things that you'd never done before than anyone else, and you had to learn more than I think anyone else had to learn in the space. And you took it upon yourself to do that and to be the responsible for the shit and the hard and the boring and the monotonous. Something that I don't think anyone else would have done.
Tre's my brother. He is a whirlwind of everything. But it's like a, you know, it's like more like a tornado, because where it touches down, like turns it up. You know what I'm saying? He's hopping and touching, turning it up. And so it's been a very big challenge for him to do this, to have this experience. But it's extremely great growth for him, and making him do things that he ordinarily would completely avoid, but had no choice but to face and accomplish. And he's I mean, Tre's brilliant, Tre's courageous, and Tre's outgoing and, you know, connective and caring. You know, it really wants everyone to succeed and to work together and to benefit. And he's, you know, he makes lots of mistakes, you know, but he is working to try to make the most wins he can possibly make all the time. So he's always trying to win in a new way and find new ways to win.
Tre Borden will be trifling and amazing and knock all of our socks off. I think he will go and he will do big things. I think it will be more in an arena of products with big budgets that can afford Tre, because none of us can afford Tre. Tre can't afford Tre.
The first one I met was Tre, obviously. Strong personality. I know things pretty well. We're pretty good, close friends. Then he introduced me with all of you guys.
Graduated president of his class at Yale. Okay, let's get that out the way at first, right? He's very good at commanding the universe. I mean, pretty much everything Tre needs literally just falls right in his lap. Just beep, baba ganoush, and it appears. And everything just works to his favor constantly. So he has this attitude that it works for everybody like that. And he's always like, oh, it'll just work itself out. Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out. It's gonna be all good. And he can do that. Everybody else, I don't know.
You know, when he first opened this place up, when he first walked in here and looked at these walls that were all covered in black, and we wondered what it was going to be like, we looked at one another and said, you know what, this is a family business. And that's what it's turned out to be. You know, we figured that he's going to do what he does, and we're going to support him in every way that we possibly can. And that's how it's been, everywhere. And any way I couldn't think of, she thought of.
Obviously, like Carol and Bill Borden, my parents, they were a ubiquitous presence at Exhibit S, and, you know, whether it was sweeping, I mean, there was lots of sweeping that my mom did, but also just kind of being there to do anything we needed. You know, my dad's like our resident bartender, my mom is our resident, like, what is this lady? Making sure everything is looking exactly how it needs to. So their support's been invaluable.
Danny Scheible. Oh my goodness. Talk about an artist. You want to know what an artist is? You find Danny Scheible and study him. He's like, he's an artist in every kind of way possible. He lives and breathes art all day long. I mean, art and beer. That's all he does. Doesn't do anything else. He's working. He's a hard-working man.
So Danny is obviously, besides me, the person who's most responsible for this place existing. And I think that, you know, the way our relationship has changed throughout Exhibit S has been, you know, at times tumultuous, but also like really instructive and always kind of exactly what it needed to be. When we were looking for space after our Kickstarter, you know, we were kind of debating different options, and I had, you know, been involved with Flywheel, which I had helped them find the space here, and it was really kind of like, why try to rent space when there's so much space in the mall still? And like, you know, Danny had noticed that the Hyundai dealership had just left. I'm like, oh my God, that'd be a perfect place. It's literally a showroom, you know? We couldn't ask for a more queued up place to show artwork. But, you know, when we looked at this space, we toured it, and Danny was a little bit like, really? Like, this is what we're doing now? Like, you know, and we had no plan. We had no finances. We never run a gallery or a store. We were going from literally like living room and coffee shop to 7,300 square foot facility.
Danny, grouchy, but very sweet man.
Danny is the hardest worker I know. Yeah. And he will do any part of it that needs to get done to make sure it gets done. At times he can resent that but sometimes he has to be the one to do it because it's in his image, you know what I'm saying? So he has to be the one to hammer it out. But sometimes he's just a jack of many trades and can just go and handle it, and will put his effort towards doing it, get it done, and move on to go doing some other shit he has to do. But he also is very fun and joyful and fun-loving, and you know, and has a good time. Parties and, you know, jokes and it's not all work. I mean, he enjoys. He's very enjoyable to be around.
He tries to think of everything, and then he thinks he knows everything. And I wouldn't say he's totally wrong either, but he is very blunt.
I think Danny Scheible will go on to have a show at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. I think his Tapagami sensation will end up being a huge craze amongst kids. I think he'll be just as bossy and wear just as weird stuff as he does now. And I think he'll totally get away with it. I think some woman will find his beard and his bullshit amazing.
By making art for 10 years, I was capable, and focusing on making Sacramento a better place, I was capable through partnering with all the people that made Exhibit S possible to open up one of the nicest facilities to show art that exists in Sacramento.
Leaving Exhibit S, I am so sad that it's over because I feel like we set such a great example of how all these things cannot fit in, but they all belong together. How you take people who would not hang out otherwise and you put them together and you have a family that absolutely gets along. We fight, we yell, we cry, we hug, we say I love you. There's all of that happens, but at the end of the day, I think if you asked anybody if they were sad they met anybody who's been at Exhibit S, I don't think anybody will say that.